A new battle is brewing in the national fight over women's reproductive rights in Mississippi. A constitutional amendment is on the November 8th ballot, which wants to amend the Bill of Rights to declare a fertilized human egg as a legal person. Now, if it passes, it would make abortion, birth control, and in vitro fertilization a crime. Doctors and women's health experts say the measure could endanger women's rights, but their very lives as well. And joining me now is MSNBC contributor Melissa Harris Perry, professor of political science at Tulane, and a columnist for The Nation. Melissa, Time magazine says right now in Mississippi that 99% of women in the state do not have access to a Planned Parenthood or a clinic that would allow them the right to choose, a lot of them having to cross state lines to get the care that they need. When you hear about this and the impending measure coming up for this election on November the 8th, what's your reaction?
Look, Mississippi has a very long and extremely appalling history of intervening in women's reproductive rights on both sides, both the right to have a child and the right to choose not to go forward with a pregnancy. Many people may not know the story of Fannie Lou Hamer, who was a civil rights and voting rights activist, part of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. She and many, many other poor African-American women during the era of Jim Crow were given what came to be called Mississippi appendectomies, literally going in for either childbirth or for other minor procedures and having their uteruses removed through hysterectomies that they had not consented to. Now, this is on the other side of that. What's happening now is Mississippi once again making a choice as a state, as a government, to intervene in the reproductive life choices of women and of families in ways that will undoubtedly have dramatic and negative impact on women's health.
Melissa, the issue that gets a lot of people is the fact that this does go beyond abortion and also targets in vitro fertilization that helps people become parents. So what kind of impact would this have on reproductive rights, not just in Mississippi, but as we look at this in a larger perspective nationwide?
Well, this and other personhood initiatives are being set forward for one purpose only, and that is to create the constitutional battle to take this to the Supreme Court in order to overturn Roe v. Wade. They've done an extremely good job of limiting access to health care, reproductive health care, to birth control, just through kind of these restrictions and laws. But what personhood does is basically put into the Constitution something that is scientifically completely false. It declares that a fertilized egg is a person. Now, if you know anything about reproduction, you know the vast majority of fertilized eggs never implant and never become persons. They never become either live births or pregnancies that are terminated. So it just asserts something that is medically and scientifically untrue, but does so in a way that can mean that everything from a spontaneous miscarriage could, result in, like, we need to now think about whether or not this was a caused murder because this is a person, that in vitro fertilization can be impacted because it would be cruelty to freeze embryos, to making it impossible to get IUDs and other birth control, which actually reduces the number of abortions when women have access to birth control. So this is an absolutely appallingly extreme measure meant to take away women's right to reproductive choice on both ends of the spectrum and to take it to the Supreme Court.
Melissa Harris Perry, it's nice to see you this morning. Always a pleasure to see you, and you can remember to read more of Melissa's thoughts on this and other topics at thenation.com.